You can't tell me a $60 billion reverse Morris trust isn't the most beautiful thing you've seen all week.
It's mayonnaise and garlic powder, Maya. They're just merging condiments.
They're unlocking $15.7 billion in cash for Unilever. It's a masterclass in tax-efficient structuring.
I'll give you the tax angle, but $20 billion in projected revenue is pure banker fiction.
We'll dig into the math on that. Plus, Apollo is buying private jets, and Netflix just ghosted Warner Brothers. The rundown. So Apollo is snatching Atlantic Aviation right out of KKR's hands for $10 billion.
$10 billion for private jets. You know, the deal market is thawing when the big buyout shops start trading luxury aviation assets like baseball cards.
Sure, but look at the actual margin on those terminal services. It's basically a toll booth for billionaires.
A toll booth that prints money. Which, speaking of printing money, Carlyle just bought a majority stake in MAI Capital Management, $2.8 billion valuation.
Wealth management roll-ups. Yawn.
Oh, come on, it's a pure AUM grab. You consolidate the RIAs, lock in the management fees, and cross-sell. It's the classic banker playbook.
A playbook from 2015. I'm way more interested in Primoris dropping $422 million in cash for Pinecrest Electric.
Wait, really? The electrical contractor?
Yes, because it's a backdoor data center play. Pinecrest wires up these massive server farms. Primoris saw the AI infrastructure boom and decided they needed an electrician. It's incredibly smart.
Okay, I actually like that. Picks and shovels for the AI gold rush, better than Biogen dropping $5.6 billion on Apellis Pharmaceuticals.
$41 a share in cash. They're trying to patch the holes in their immunology pipeline.
Desperate is the word you're looking for. You don't pay a premium like that unless your own R&D is totally stalled out.
I completely disagree. Apellis has a lock on some very specific rare disease markets. If you look at the patient retention rates, Biogen is buying guaranteed, sticky revenue. They aren't desperate, they're just doing the math.
We'll see if the market agrees when earnings hit. Did you see the gossip on the streaming side? Netflix abruptly walked away from the Warner Brothers Discovery table.
Which leaves Paramount Skydance as the official winner.
Winner is doing a lot of heavy lifting in that sentence.
True. We'll see how much debt they actually have to swallow. But we need to talk about the absolute masterclass in corporate tax avoidance that just dropped this morning.
You mean the $60 billion flavor monopoly?
McCormick and Unilever, a reverse Morris trust, $15.7 billion in cash changing hands, $20 billion in projected revenue, and the tax structuring is an absolute work of art.
I've never seen you this excited about mayonnaise and black pepper.
I'm excited about the footnotes. Let me walk you through exactly how they structured this spin-off. Now, the big one. I am looking at the filing right now, and I just have to say, the reverse Morris trust is back, baby.
It never really left, but when you use it to build a $60 billion spice rack, people finally pay attention.
It is a masterclass in tax avoidance. Wait, excuse me, tax efficiency.
Careful, the lawyers are listening.
Let us talk about the math. Unilever spins off its food division, merges it with McCormick. Unilever nets $15.7 billion in cash, and their shareholders keep a 55.1% stake in the new entity.
Which is projected to do $20 billion in annual revenue. It is massive. You are basically combining the ketchup and the mustard of the global supply chain. Unilever gets to slim down and focus on soap and deodorant, while McCormick gets to own literally every flavor packet in your pantry.
Okay, but who actually wins here? Because I am looking at that $15.7 billion cash payout to Unilever and thinking they are the only clear victor. They get liquidity and they still hold majority control of the new company. McCormick just bought themselves a massive integration headache.
I completely disagree. McCormick is the winner here.
Explain that to me. They are giving up majority ownership.
Sure, on paper, Unilever shareholders own 55%, but McCormick management is going to run this thing. They are the flavor experts. Unilever has been trying to figure out what to do with its food brands for half a decade. It was the neglected middle child. McCormick takes those assets, plugs them into a dedicated distribution network, and suddenly you have an undisputed global leader in taste.
Leader is one word, monopoly is another. The FTC might actually agree with you.
Fair point. But as a former banker, I look at this and see a perfect strategic fit. Unilever wanted out. McCormick wanted scale. The RMT structure just makes the massive tax bill disappear. It is beautiful.
It is clever, I will give you that. But look at the growth projections. 20 billion in revenue sounds great until you realize both of these legacy portfolios have been growing at barely 2% year over year. You do not suddenly get hypergrowth just because you put the mayo and the paprika in the same corporate holding company.
You do not need hypergrowth. You need margin expansion. You cut overhead, consolidate the supply chain, and print cash.
Spoken exactly like a guy who used to build pitch decks for a living.
Guilty as charged. I can literally see the synergies slide in my head right now. It has a little clip art picture of a stock pot on it.
Oh, come on. That is genuinely embarrassing.
It was a very persuasive stock pot. Look, the market clearly likes the logic.
We will see. I just hope McCormick knows what they're swallowing. The integration costs on these carve-outs are always hidden deep in the footnotes, and Unilever is notorious for tangled back-office IT systems. I will believe the synergy numbers when I see them in a quarterly earnings report, not a slide deck.
Well, while McCormick is figuring out how to migrate server farms, the private equity guys are out there buying up actual jet fuel.
You are talking about the Apollo rumors.
$10 billion for Atlantic Aviation, and they are snatching it right out of KKR's hands. Voices. So I'm reading this analyst note on the McCormick Unilever tie-up, and I quote, "It is a masterclass in unlocking tax-efficient value for shareholders."
A masterclass? Really? I love how bankers throw that word around.
Hey, pulling off a reverse Morris Trust at a $60 billion scale is not exactly a walk in the park. You have a ton of moving parts.
It is literally just a standard tax maneuver, Nate. They spin off the food division, merge it with McCormick, Unilever gets $15.7 billion in cash, and nobody writes a check to the IRS. Calling it a masterclass makes it sound like they cured a disease.
Spoken like someone who never had to explain a reverse Morris Trust to a sleepy board of directors. It is pure corporate gymnastics. You have to respect the landing.
I respect the math. I just roll my eyes at the poetry, especially the part where the analyst called them the undisputed global flavor leader.
Undisputed. Because no one is stepping into the ring to fight them for the vanilla extract crown.
Exactly. It is mayonnaise and spices. But you know what else analysts are hyping up today? Primaris throwing $422 million at Pinecrest Electric.
Ah, yes, the great data center land grab.
Right. The quote I saw called it a highly strategic play to rapidly capture market share.
Which is completely true. If you want to build AI data centers, you desperately need people who actually know how to wire them. It is the ultimate picks and shovels play.
Sure, but it is an incredibly expensive shovel. I read the filings. They are paying a massive premium just so they can say the words data center in their next earnings call.
Sometimes you have to overpay for the shovel if there is actual gold in the mine. But speaking of wildly expensive toys, we need to talk about the whispers coming out of Apollo today. I am hearing they are about to drop $10 billion to steal a private jet business right out from under KKR. Spill the tea. I'm still trying to picture the exact moment the Netflix team stood up and walked out of that Warner Brothers Discovery negotiation.
You really believe they just abruptly withdrew? Please. They finally got a look at the unredacted debt schedule and sprinted for the elevators.
Okay, fair. But Paramount Skydance officially winning the bid? That is the streaming equivalent of a shotgun wedding. David Zaslav has to be exhausted.
He's exhausted? Think about the lawyers billing $2,000 an hour on this since October. They are doing fine.
True. Speaking of people doing fine, the whispers about Apollo snatching Atlantic Aviation from KKR are getting really loud down on Wall Street.
A cool $10 billion for a company that essentially parks private jets.
Hey now, it's high-end parking and fueling and catering, but $10 billion? That is a massive flex by Apollo, taking a crown jewel straight from a rival like KKR.
Is it a flex, or did they just overpay? KKR is probably thrilled to take the cash. Private aviation traffic has been normalizing since the pandemic boom. I want to see the multiples on this before I call it a win for Apollo.
Spoken like a true skeptic, but you have to admit there's a certain poetic justice in private equity guys fighting over who gets to own the terminals where they park their Gulf Streams.
It's very on brand. I just hope Apollo modeled in the cost of all those complimentary fancy mixed nuts in the lounges.
Oh, some first-year analysts definitely had to run a downside scenario on the macadamias.
Well, if you want to talk about actual food synergies instead of private jet catering, we need to look at what Unilever is doing. Tomorrow's radar.
I'm refreshing Edgar tomorrow morning purely for the Otsuka pharmaceutical filings.
You really think they dropped the Transcend Therapeutics paper tomorrow? It's a $1.2 billion clinical biotech deal. Those always get delayed.
I do, but honestly, the real action tomorrow is the Carlyle and MAI Capital regulatory updates.
Action? Carlyle takes a majority stake for $2.8 billion. It's a wealth management roll-up, practically a utility play.
You're missing the bigger picture. Pushing for a Q2 close is aggressive. If regulators rubber stamp this quickly, it sets the multiple for every RIA deal this year.
I completely disagree. Antitrust regulators don't care about RIA deals right now. They care about media monopolies, which is exactly why Netflix abruptly walked away from Warner Bros. Discovery.
Paramount Skydance officially winning that bid is wild. The streaming wars are literally just boardroom brawls now.
Exactly. So I'll read the boring biotech footnotes tomorrow while you chase Hollywood gossip.
Hey, someone has to watch Apollo try to snatch Atlantic Aviation from KKR for $10 billion. We'll track the private jet drama overnight and break it all down next time.